This year, our local home builders and remodelers association is building a nearly $1 million home, and once completed is giving away it along with the contents inside of it. That's where we came in. We were approached by them about building a custom white oak dining set, and when asked, it was an easy yes.
Within the community of woodworking, most projects are measured in hours or by dollar signs, but every once in a while, you get an opportunity to use a unit of measurement that is not often used. That unit being the positive impact you can make on somebody or some people. Now, don't be fooled. It does not take a grand gesture to make a positive impact on anyone's life. It could be as simple as holding the door for someone, wearing a smile, or asking your friend how they've been. But sometimes it's saying yes to an opportunity that is much bigger than yourselves.
So what we're gonna get ready to do is prep everything for the tabletop. And so what we like to do is we like to sort through all of our lumber. We have 12 boards here. We have a few that we just cut down at the table saw that were too wide for our jointer. So we cut them down that way. They'll fit the jointer. So those are inevitably going to be table legs, essentially. So now what we're gonna do is go through and figure out what we want our tabletop to look like, start piecing through lumber, and then cut it down to the rough size before we do any milling. It's easier to mill smaller boards than it is bigger boards here. So that is what we have to do now.
To catch up to speed, we were approached about this build in August of 2025 as guests of a networking social event for our local home builders and remodelers association. We were out of our element, we were timid, and just had this huge opportunity displayed in front of us on a silver platter.
Now it's funny looking back, because going to that social was not on our agenda, and to be honest, we knew nothing about the association prior to this. A few weeks before, we ran a promotion through Touch of Spice, our commission build side of things, just to try and get the builds coming back in since we spent the last year and a half building the legacy. It was a 15-day stint that ended up with a much larger reach than we could have ever imagined. And well, because of that reach, we were invited to a member social for our local HBR. And if I'm being honest, we almost didn't go. Because like Tanner said, we were out of our element there, but we figured let's just go check things out at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. We could continue our marketing venture in person and then just head home. But instead, we spent the evening talking with builders, remodelers, and designers, just trying to get to know everyone, and not to mention, it was at a professional raceway. Literally one of the coolest settings for anything, and that ended up with us going upwards of 60 miles an hour on goat carts. And if that's not fast enough for you, then we got the opportunity to take a lap on the actual track, reaching speeds anywhere from 130 to 140 miles an hour. And that's great and all, but somewhere in the middle of all of that, we got introduced to one of the executive officers of the association. And that's where all of this came up, the Make-A-Wish Home Giveaway. And so what is it? Well, it's the association's way of giving back, bringing multiple members of it together with one common goal. Community over competition, because some of the best projects aren't about competing, they're about seeing what can happen when everyone brings their specialty to the same table. The only caveat up to this point is, remember, we're not members, only guests with first impressions. The association had never saw our work, never saw our shop, and not even these videos, but what they got was two brothers who genuinely love building. One conversation, one risk, but one huge reward, and we couldn't be happier to get the opportunity.
One thing we actually spent quite a bit of time talking through was the design itself. Normally, we know exactly where a piece is going, we know the house, the style, even the room it's going to sit in. This one was a bit different. The furniture wasn't actually staying within the Make-A-Wish home, it was being raffled off separately, so we had no idea who it was going to end up with. And that made this design a little trickier than most. We wanted something that felt modern without being trendy, something clean enough to fit into just about any home, whether it ended up in a farmhouse, a new build, or something a little more traditional. And that's ultimately what led up to this design. A thick white oak top, softened edges, and a base that had just enough character to give the piece its own identity without becoming the center of attention. And we carried that same philosophy through all three pieces. We wanted the dining table and the entry tables to feel connected but not identical. Like they belonged in the same collection, but could also stand on their own if they were to go to any different houses. And one thing we kept coming back to was balance and symmetry. We want someone to walk into the room and feel like the furniture belongs there, not because it demands attention, but because it fits naturally with everything surrounding it. And to us, that's truly what timeless is. It's not the loudest piece in the room, it's the one that still feels right years down the road, no matter how the house changes.
As we hammer out these glue ups, there's one thing we've always appreciated about furniture, and that's that there's no one right way to do it. Right now, live edge slabs and highly figured lumber are incredibly popular, and I'd say that's for good reason. Nature does an amazing job creating something that's already beautiful before a tool can ever even touch it. And a lot of those pieces are meant to celebrate the wood itself, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. This project just asks something different of us. With a clean panel glue up like this, the wood isn't trying to steal the show. The grain is quieter, more uniform. It doesn't immediately grab your attention the way a heavily figured slab might, and because of that, the focus must shift. Instead of the wood carrying the design has to carry the furniture. The proportions matter more here. The grain layout matters. The transitions, the joinery, and the symmetry, those are all things the eye will naturally start to pick up. And in a way, a simple piece almost becomes less forgiving. There's less visual noise, so every decision becomes a little more noticeable. So that's why we spent so much time laying these boards out before gluing up, rotating them, swapping them around, and even looking at every angle that we could think possible. On paper, in this video, it probably just looked like we were just arranging boards. But to us, that layout was just as much a part of the design as the base we're about to build.
With the tabletops and clamps, we could finally turn our attention to the bases. And even though the designs look pretty straightforward, there was quite a bit of planning that went into making these repeatable. Before we ever touched a board, we sat down with a calculator and sketched everything out on paper. And once we were happy with the dimensions and angles, we made full-size templates that let us see the designs at its actual scale before committing to the build. Because white oak is expensive, even at half off. From there, it was just a matter of building a process around it. Using the crosscut sled with stop blocks meant every matching part could be cut exactly the same. It sped things up quite a bit, but more importantly, it kept everything consistent from one base to the next. When you're building a furniture package like this, that's really the goal. You don't want three pieces that look similar. You want them to feel like they came from the same build. With the process figured out, the rest of it just became repetition. Cut the parts, dry fit everything together, make any small adjustments, and then start watching the bases actually take shape. We've actually got a question for you. Imagine somebody hands you a blank sheet of paper and says, design one dining table. That's all the direction you get. You don't know who's going to own it. You don't know what their house looks like. You don't know if they have young kids, if they host Thanksgiving every year, or if it's just going to be two of them sitting down for dinner every night. How would you even start? What's the very first thing you would think about? Would it be the durability, comfort, looks? Trying to build something that's completely unique, or would you start somewhere entirely different? That's one thing we found ourselves talking about throughout this whole build, and honestly, there probably isn't one right answer. And truthfully, every decision seemed to create another question or an outcome. Should we make it a little larger? Should the base be heavier? Would rounded corners make it feel more inviting? And you can go down that rabbit hole for hours if you let yourself. And eventually though, you have to stop asking questions and just trust your instincts and start building with just one thing in mind. That being how these pieces will still be in a stranger's home for holiday dinners, birthday celebrations, hard conversations, and really so much more. So now my final question for you would be, would you accept this challenge or would you view it as an opportunity?
Alrighty, so we were on to the other two table legs. We wanted them, it is all set, we wanted them to be similar but different. So we have this one, it's pretty well the inverted and a slight change of degree. This is a 3 degree instead of a 15 degree of what the dining table is. And then onto the couch table, we are going with a little bit of a new, some might say it's another YouTuber's type design. That's the wrong way. But we want to have it like this. We're going to have two runners sandwiching it from each side. It's got to be fairly skeet because it is a couch table. You don't want the base protruding out. But new design, same concept of dominoing every point, gluing it, and we're going to have to build this one in sections actually since you can't really get actual clamping pressure each direction.
About this point in the build, I actually disappeared for a couple days, and you'll notice that in just about every build video we have. For those of you who are new here, outside of the shop, I'm a full-time paramedic, so every few days I trade the table saw for the ambulance. For us, it's definitely an interesting balance. One day you're covered in sawdust and the next you're back out there taking care of complete strangers. I don't think those two worlds are as different as people may think though. Working in EMS has a way of reminding you how important family is, or how important a home is, and just how quickly life can change. So when the opportunity to be a small part of something like the Make-A-Wish home came along, saying yes wasn't really something we had to think about. We knew we couldn't build the entire house, but if we could build the table where a family would someday gather, or like Tanner said, celebrate birthdays, eat dinner, or just spend time together, then we were more than happy to do our part.
So, I've been gone on shift, working away for the past 48 hours. Today is the day that we see what Tanner was able to accomplish while I was gone. Now note, I was supposed to tell you, he was also on shift for 12 hours. Not 48, but 12. And essentially, this is the moment I always look forward to, coming out here just to see what has changed since I last left. So essentially, whenever I left, the bases were in glue up. However, they are looking awesome. He did a good job sanding, actually an excellent job sanding. So essentially, our job for today and our task at hand will be these table bases for all three of the tables. So essentially, we have our entry table base that now needs rounded over, as well as the thought of a cross stringer on the bottom. Not sure yet. We'll get to that though. We'll do some different mock-ups. We have our main dining table here that is close to ready. Essentially, we just have to square things up a little bit. Then it's ready for its roundovers, as well as we're for sure putting a middle stringer in the bottom of it. So that'll all get done here today, as well as 2 top stringers just for structure. And then lastly, our last base here, our little, I guess I would say a combination of both bases into one base here to tie the whole theme in this furniture set together. We just have to get the last of our decorative, I would say, struts on. And then that would be it almost for bases, short of final sandings, roundovers, and everything like that. Coming over to the tabletop, looks like a beautiful seam up. Literally, very happy with this one. You know, it's crazy to see where we've come and how far we've gotten in things. And so we couldn't be more proud that this is what our tabletop looks like for a Make-A-Wish giveaway of this sort. So it's near 90, 99% done. So we have final sanding on this, and then we're going to get some Ruby on it hopefully really soon. And then ceramic coating. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, so let's get to it.
So if you've seen any of our other videos, then you might notice that sometimes our shop is painted or more finished than what it is here, but then sometimes it's not. And in this instance, that's because by the time you're watching this, these tables had actually been finished for the past 6 months. And that was the hard part, waiting. The furniture was ready, but the house wasn't. When you've got an entire home being built from donated materials or donated labor, and people volunteering their time, things don't always happen on a perfect schedule. Life gets in the way, jobs have to come first, and the timeline naturally stretches out. So while these tables sat waiting for their new home, we just kept doing what we always do. We've been in the shop, starting the next projects, making improvements where we could, and just kept moving forward. And looking back now, it's actually kind of neat seeing this footage again. At that time, this shop felt finished to us. Now I look and I just realize how much has changed in only a few months. And I guess that's one of the coolest things about filming everything and about Kingcraft is that we don't always notice the progress while we're living in it, but the camera always has a way of reminding us. And if you're enjoying following along with projects like this, with something that's real, then we'd love to have you here with us. We're still figuring this whole thing out. And whether it's building furniture for clients or taking on projects like a Make-A-Wish home, or just trying to grow a small business one project at a time, that's what this channel is all about. So if that sounds like something you'd like to be a part of, consider subscribing and follow along. We've got a lot more builds ahead of us, and honestly, we're just getting started.
We rolling, Log? We're good? Okay. I'm just kidding. Logan's not here today. He's off driving the boo-boo bus. So I'm all alone in the glorious shop of Kingcraft. Today's task at hand is finishing the top side of the dining room table and the undersides, as well as the bases of the hallway and couch table. We are using Real Monocoat, the natural color on it. It looks really good on white oak. And I've done the underside. I did kind of a test run for the color, as well as my quantity and how much I'm going to need to finish the table without having to rush and scramble to get more made. It looks really good. I'm currently waiting for mineral spirits to dry before I even apply it. If you couldn't tell by what I'm sitting on and what's in the background as well, it's been a pretty hectic week between alternating from installing cabinets for another video you will see, as well as doing this and doing some different marketing things with the association that is allowing us to do this. Let's get it.
People ask us all the time what it's like working with your brother. And honestly, this is one of the best examples. Logan back on the ambulance, I'm here putting finish on the tables, and in a couple of days, he'll be back out here like he never left. That's just how we've done it always. It's funny because our channel says two brothers having fun working. A lot of people probably think that's just a tagline, but it's really not. It's just us. Some days we're both in the shop. Some days we're both in an ambulance. Some days it's one in the shop, one in the ambulance, but somehow we keep moving forward. And thinking on it now, I don't think either of us really care who necessarily gets credit. We just enjoy building together, even if sometimes together means 40 miles apart and texting each other pictures or game plans for the next day. Now back before KenCraft, whenever it was just two kids who were building forts, helping out our grandpa, remodeling his house, learning woodworking together, and now trying to grow a business, we realize it's pretty much just been the same two guys figuring things out as we go. The projects have changed, the tools have gotten nicer, the shop's gotten bigger, life's got a whole lot busier, but that part really hasn't changed. We still spend way too much time giving each other crap. We still disagree on things every now and then. We still laugh when something goes wrong, at least after we've had time to cool off, and somehow, at the end of the day, we always end up right back out here working on the next project. I guess that's why that phrase stuck. It was never really meant to be a brand of ours. It was just the easiest way to describe who we are.
So we're now on to applying, this is the top coat of the N3 Nano. Yesterday, we did not film any of putting on just the hard coat. I was busy fixating on building cup holders for the rolly carts because I have free will. I finished that today. It's been 24 hours since we did the nice top coat. I've dry wiped everything. I've tried to keep dust to a minimum, but now it's time for this. I have to apply one coat, wait an hour, come back, apply the second coat, make sure once again there's still no dust in the air, and then go from there. I'm all alone today. Logan's working. It's Monday. This is needed by Thursday, and we still have to get levelers on, as well as just double check that it is actually needed by Thursday, because there's been a few setbacks for them, but that's for off-camera stuff. Let's get it.
And there you have it. One conversation at a raceway, a pile of rough white oak, a few months out in the shop. It's funny how something that starts out feeling so ordinary can eventually become a part of a story that we will never forget. I have a feeling that's going to be one of those projects for us, and I hope this is going to be one of those videos for you. So thanks for following along, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Just look at it. Don't touch it, but just look at it. It's beautiful. It's shiny. It beads up water. It's phenomenal. Cam, please, just like comment on a video. Like, just literally, it could be like, fuck you, and that would work. But just look at it. Look at it.